Hello everyone. So we will focus on Shadow today. We will have 2 matches which needs to be finished. So let's have a look at the bracket first. Alright. Shadow versus Naga. We've got 2 games played, the 1v1 and 2v2. We've got the remaining 2 games to be played. And we've got also Shadow versus Tribal with the 2v2 and the 4v4. So I would like to start with Naga. So let's start the 3v3. I just run Mini Note versus Seagull's Revenge, and the score is 2-2, quite close. So it was related to Group 1, actually dominated by Audit, and we've got also Valkyrie Warrior in that group. Alright, so let's pick Shadow in a team versus Naga. Shadow playing Viking. So we will have one Naga playing Viking and the others playing random. Alright. Here we go. I assume that the sound from the game can be detected in the streaming. So Naga won the 1v1 and lost the 2v2. Naga, like Promi, is a pretty strong AI in late game, but Shadow is very aggressive, so it's all about Naga to be able to survive from the assaults from Feudal Age and Castle Age, and if it is the case, everything is possible for Naga. Alright, I think I'm gonna focus on Naga for the very early game. To see if there is some direct hit control for the villagers might. Interesting to see that the meal is cooked as soon as possible, as soon as the berries are found, despite the fact that we don't have any forager. Priority being given to ships and boars. I detected Ziba in the list of viewers, so welcome Ziba. Oh, interesting, a very early brush from purple. I assume that we do have another lumber camp. Oh, it doesn't. Yes, it's gonna have one soon. And indeed, if both flanks are dominated by Shadow, the game is gonna be over. If Nagua do what it did in the 1v1, I mean if it managed to give good fights, that way we've got the opportunity to see a flank dominated by Nagua. But villagers are aggressive enough against those militias. So what's gonna be the strategy from purple after having drashed? Is it gonna be a fast castle? No. It's far from fast castle, we can get the resources, so we would have maybe an archer rush. Going archer is definitely not an option against Shadow. Shadow loves to go for a full skirmishers rush. We've got already the two stables for two archer ranges from purple. Hello bandits. Interesting, good question. What about green? I didn't focus on it, actually. Alright, it's taking its time, but it's not too far from picking up Castle Age. I reach castle around 17 minutes or so. Yeah, it's a bit late. Might be more 18 minutes maybe. While I assume that Nagua is gonna be quite faster in this yellow player. Well, not that much. So it's pretty close between green and yellow eventually. I don't know why Teal is actually retreating. That's definitely a good news for Nagua. Nagua needs to keep those enemy skirmishers far from its town. We've got a bunch of skirmishers added to the arches for purple. Red is retreating. I assume that Teal is gonna attack now. Yep, it does. So this is a key moment. It's gonna be pretty hard for Red to fight so many skirmishers with a mix of archers and skirms. Let's see if this micro from Fireball is gonna win this. Red is retreating, maybe because of the heal advantage from Teal. Alright, green is coming. That's quite lucky, I think, for Nagua, because we've got two knights which are following the yellow scout, and that way the two green knights should die. 7 less knights from green to red town. Yeah, but the skirmishers are actually doing a great job. Yeah, I agree on it. The fight between Shadow, Nagua and Tribal will be rude, I guess. Alright, yellow isn't really attacking. That's pretty good for Nagua. Purple is actually dealing quite well against the aggressiveness from blue. And for sure, Nagua is gonna be way stronger than Shadow in late game. So it needs to survive in Castle Age and at least in Feudal Age. Actually, it's the case, purple side, but red is in very bad shape already. I didn't check the civilization for Promi, which were random. We've got Huns as pocket and Incas as flank. Having a palancy for Nagua is also a good news. So yellow stays quite defensive. At least it ends purple. And Shadow is pretty fast in targeting the next opponent. So it would be a shame if red died too fast. Red is promised to die, but if it can keep the enemies busy, that's a good point for yellow. Good micro to prevent the skirmishes to die from the knights. And Shadow Research is actually Castle Age, so it is purple. Oh, green is eventually switching from red to purple. Alright, it is eventually coming to. I really like the position of Teal, which is gonna kill any unit from yellow, which won't be able to cross this side of the map to help purple. So, 18 population for red. Wow, this is scary now. It's gonna be pretty hard for yellow to deal with those skirmishers protected by the lightning. We've got one siege workshop which could be a great help. I hope that Nagua will use the siege workshop. Yeah, without help from yellow, purple is now clearly dominated. I think that 2 mangonels could be great, but there is clearly a lack of food. Nagua is booming with 4 TCs. No need to count the amount of TCs for Shadow. And purple has its population decreasing by far now. If we compare with blue, yeah, blue does have a huge army, but almost the same amount of villagers than purple. And overall Shadow is doing a great job as pocket. It helped to kill red, it is actually helping to kill purple. Oh, it looks like everyone is now targeting yellow. What an aggressive behavior from Shadow in this game. Alright, 35 population for purple. Red is now 48. It's recovered, but now it definitely needs to go Castle Age. I really would like to see a monolith. Purple really needed a castle, yep. I think that Nagua was more focused on booming than really focusing on the fight. I think that 4-4 can be interesting because maybe one Nagua being in Imperial Age can maybe beat all the 4 Shadow in very late game. But unfortunately this really 3 Nagua was not able to survive the time required. Yellow is just Imperial Age at this point, but it's already hurt too much. Alright, purple resigns. Time to go for 5% speed. Red did a good dribble, but unfortunately yellow couldn't handle the big fight. Alright. So the score is actually 2-1 for Shadow. The other game was promising with Purple, which did a good job, but there is a great team play in the opposite side. So GG Shadow. Viking, random, random, and random. Japanese Gurjaras and Borgingham. Okay, I'm gonna check what Gurjaras do. Burgundies can be a pretty strong sieve. Too bad it's flank. Alright, it's building the mill. Sounds good. We are expecting the llama to join the mill, of course. Alright, looks to be a good start as Gurjaras. Yeah, I think so, Bandit. It looks to be an interesting unit. Definitely Nagua needs some interesting bonus from its civilizations against Shadow to expect a victory. We've got an idle villager which is stuck, unfortunately. What what comes to my mind is maybe civilization with elephants. At least it's tanky and it definitely could help against Shadow. A bunch of elephants coming from the pockets. And any unit having a bonus against skirmishers. Hello G West, nice to see you around. Yeah, Byzantine Trash, it's especially a sieve that promiscuities do love. I remember that the very early version of Promi played Byzantine only. So it could have been an option for Naga. Because I assume that Naga is not that much different from Promi. Alright, so we've got already red and orange in Feudal Age. And a drush which looks to be not really successful, unfortunately.
Ruin.
Alright, we should have a villager dead maybe. No. Oh yes. Good job, scouts. Oh, we've got a scout rush from yellow. That is really interesting. Now let's have some good micro with those scouts. That's really unfortunate for Grey to have the two lumber camps so exposed. I'm gonna attempt to see if the scouts are targeting low HP villagers or not. It's hard to say. No, I got the feeling that it just attacked the closest villager. The scouts are turning mad, looking at the behaviors. Alright, so what orange is preparing? We've got a stable, so a bunch of scouts. But Shadow shouldn't be that scared from the scouts because of its good micro against any cavalry unit and also those spearmen. Alright, we've got the second outer range for red. And Shadow doesn't have fletching, but it does have a Hutch army actually, so it's not a problem. So yellow is taking its time to research Castle Age, of course, because it did Scout Rush. And the purple does have a specific strategy as Gurjaras. So red is actually having a bad moment. Its Castle Age time is gonna be decent, but I'm scared that it will lose too many villagers at this point. So let's go yellow. It is interesting to see that green is targeting yellow instead of attacking orange or purple. It means that purple is actually safe. So I said before that maybe Nagua in Imperial Age can win in 1 versus 4 against Shadow. It's gonna be hard, but definitely not impossible. And the lack of help from green gives some opportunity to orange to survive at least against blue. Let's compare. Blue is researching Castle Age, and orange is quite late, but definitely not dead. looks like purple is just booming. Yeah, no military at this point. That's pretty risky, but looking at the resources, it might be able to reach Castle Imperial Age way faster than any other player. It needs to be fast because I think that yellow is not far from being defeated at this point. Hey, Firewall. Yeah, but this version of Shadow is definitely decent enough, I would say. It is showing a lot. So, purple is now the next target. It is researching Imperial Age, but it's gonna be weak. The time required to train an Imperial Age army. Alright, villagers are fighting the knights. It's already lost 50 villagers. Oh boys, I think that purple is dead. So definitely Shadow does have a pretty interesting synergy between knights and pockets. That's a pretty strong AI in the games. "28 population for purple, 37 for orange, and yellow is actually rebooming. It does have some units which are actually spearmen. Alright, purple's town is devastated. Funny to see that the castle has been almost untouched. Alright. Orange refused to resign, so I will help it. So interesting kill ratios, almost the same for each player. Alright, so the score is 3-1 for Shadow, which is actually leading the group. Let's have a quick look at the bracket. I didn't check which were the civilization. Did you notice this? We had Viking at least. Japanese. I think it was Japanese, Gurjaras and Burgundians. I think that's it. Alright. 8 wins and 2 losses actually for Shadow. (5-3) for Naga.